And welcome back to Cleveland, where we're ready for Marquette and Syracuse. These two teams playing for a trip to the Sweet 16. Now let's join Marty Snyder courtside.
Well, Gus, when we last saw Scoop Jardine, he was walking off the floor at the end of the Indiana State game, holding his left wrist in quite a bit of pain. Now, Friday night, he did not put ice on that wrist, and today he will not wear a brace on that left wrist. I talked to Scoop just moments ago. He told me, you know what? If I wanted to play yesterday, I could have played yesterday. I'm more than 110% today, and I want to beat Marquette because we lost to him the last time, as you guys mentioned moments ago. So Scoop Jardine ready to go today for the Qs, Gus.
All right, Marty Snyder with the scoop on scoop, and he definitely wants to play against this team. He had a career-high 13 assists the last time he faced the Golden Eagles. So let's take a look at the starting lineup. Darius Johnson Odom, affectionately known as DJO in the Milwaukee area. Bikes, Butler, Williams, Otule. And for the Syracuse Orangemen, here's a look. Scoop Jardine with Trish, Chris Joseph, Rick the Ruler Jackson, and Keita. Buzz Williams, head coach at Marquette. He came up with a little laryngitis after the game the other day. Looks like he's okay. He was drinking tea, as Marty reported, and he's ready to lead his team in the battle against one of the greatest coaches in the history of college basketball. Jim Boeheim, 856 career victories, second among active coaches to Mike Krzyzewski. And the men in black, Hess, Natili, Randall. This game brought to you in HD TV by LG. Life's good. Last time these two teams faced each other, January 29th. Marquette won at 76-70. Lenny, the big stat. Golden Eagles 24 of 33 from the free throw line. Syracuse 8 of 14.
And that's what happens with a Marquette team that will try to attack the gaps off the dribble. They'll move the ball nicely, and they will attack the rim, force that 2-3 zone to guard people. And defense is going to be the key. Both of those teams, the last time they met, shot over 50% from the field. They're both a little bit different right now as a team, but nevertheless, defense is going to be at a premium here.
In that game, Chris Joseph led the Orange with 18 points.
You see right away trying to take the ball out of Rick Jackson's hands. He gets it on the block. Double team comes immediately.
Trish inside, and he gets it to fall. So Syracuse on the board first. In that January 29th game, Marquette led by Jay Crowder, who had 25 points. He was 8 of 10 from the free throw line, 8 of 16 from the field. Baseline. Short for Eric Williams. And here comes Scoop. Syracuse beating Indiana State. Jardine with the rebound. Joseph step back jumper. Got it. They defeated Indiana State 77-60. Joseph with the monster game. 12 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. And the Orange get back into the zone.
It's going to come down to stopping and limiting those two guys, Jackson as well as Chris Joseph.
Bikes on the fadeaway, out of bounds.
And we said defense was going to be one of the more important elements of this game. Take a look off the short rebound, and the rejection right there looked like it might have hit the backboard. Not sure. But the ball didn't have a chance to go in regardless, and I'm sure that's why no goaltending was called.
Scoop Jardine with the ball. 9 points, 9 assists against Indiana State. Trish off a screen, and he buries it.
And he's fired up, too. Trish is not normally the first, the second option in this particular offense, but he'll find a way to get open, and much improved perimeter shooter.
He had 8 points against Indiana State, but turned it over 5 times. DJO Bikes with the offensive rebound and stick back.
When you're playing against that 2-3 zone, as long as the back line for Syracuse might be, there's still opportunities, offensive rebound. You've just got to make up your mind once the shot's in the air that you're going to shoot one of the gaps that are left when the Syracuse rebounders go to the board. There are ample opportunities to go get it.
Keita almost losing it. They go back to Jackson. Power dribble, rolls, jump hook, in and out. Otule with the board.
Yeah, Tule's going to have to be big. He's got long arms, size to match Jackson. And all he needs to do is put his arms up and be an obstacle. But right there, he runs over Keita.
As we take a look at the Marquette tournament summary.
Well, you look at the conference record, they've had some very, very close losses. Getting that large bid, I think, is directly attributable to their success against RPI top 50. And Marquette, for a while there in February, they were scrambling and scuffling trying to get the Tournament Selection Committee's attention for a bid. You see a little bit of token pressure right there. Once again, slow scoop Jardine down, force the Orange into a half-court kind of game instead of a transition and secondary break kind of a game where they can excel.
Otule picked up the foul, his first. Keep your eye on him. Rick Jackson would like to do nothing more than get Otule in foul trouble early. DJO on the steal to the bucket, up and in. This kid is a sweet basketball player, and he came up with some timely back-breaking points in their win over Xavier, 66-55.
Well, ever since he got to Marquette, Darius Johnson-Odom has been clutch.
19 points on 6 of 11 shooting.
Terrific athlete, and they look for him. Being a lefty doesn't hurt either.
12 to shoot for Jardine. And he throws that one out of bounds. Turned it over 5 times the last time they faced each other. A couple other games going on. VCU on top of Purdue. How about that in the 3-11 game? That game's on TBS. VCU, Shaka Smart has his team playing some incredible postseason basketball. Texas, Arizona. Four networks, every game in its entirety. What a deal for the basketball junkie.
Yeah, just putting control back into the remote control. You can watch anything you want.
Bikes, bounces it inside, out of bounds, and we'll stay right here. 15:56 to play first half. Syracuse up 7-4.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update for you. A couple of games in progress over on TBS in Chicago. VCU, a first-round winner with the lead on Purdue, 36-24 under 3 to play. While on TNT in Tulsa, Arizona and Texas. It is now a 58-53 lead for the Wildcats. Back to Cleveland. Doug Johnson, Len Elmore, Marty Snyder.
All right, thank you very much. Close games. How about VCU, though? You can't say enough about what Shaka Smart has done inside. And that one dropping down for Jay Crowder.
Well, you talk about VCU, an emotional team. We had them Wednesday in the opening round, the second doubleheader of the first 4, and they played off the fact that so many folks denounced their entry into the tournament. And I think they're just playing with a chip on their shoulders and playing well.
Beat 2 pretty good teams, USC and the second round Georgetown. Trish, top of the arc. And Trish has the hot hand to begin this game. 8 points already. And Syracuse takes a 10-6 lead. Marquette seems like, Len, that it's not very difficult to get into the middle of that zone.
Well, the question is, once you get it in the middle, what do you do with it then as the zone pressures the ball and recovers? And you see how quickly they recover. But they are attacking it the way you need to. A sweet spot below the free throw line as well as in the short corner. And the most important thing is their offensive rebounding against the zone. They just need to be a little more efficient in capitalizing off of those offensive rebounds.
Dugan with the shot inside off the mark. Syracuse forced the turnover. Jardine to Trish. Lob. C.J. Fair, the freshman from Baltimore, gives Syracuse a 12-6 lead.
And it's unfair to have both Jackson and Fair running towards the basket with alley-oop opportunities, and only one Marquette got back. Marquette's going to have to work on getting folks back in transition.
And a whistle. Let's take another look at the Orangemen on the fast break.
Well, fortunately, the good communication, because it could have been either Fair or Rick Jackson, both of them calling for it, and Jackson deferred.
Number 1.
And I think the second greatest alley-oop basketball player in college, Magic Johnson being the first, came from Syracuse, one Sherman Douglas.
You mean throwing it, not receiving it?
Yeah,
right?
throwing it, exactly, as an assist man. Stevie Thompson, remember how high he can get up. Johnson, Odom lost it. Trish, he's got Jardine on the wing. Puts pressure on the defense to the basket, finger roll, no. Out of bounds, will head the other way.
Marquette ball.
You can see Syracuse making a concerted effort to push the ball up the floor. You know, they like playing in the 70s. And actually, so does Marquette. The last time these two teams played, Marquette in the mid-70s, Syracuse just barely cracked it. Marquette doing a lot of their damage from the free throw line. That's why they continue to attack.
Runner on the baseline, no. Fab Melo, 7-footer from Brazil, with the rebound. Jackson facing that.
And again, the double team comes at him. Jackson wisely kicks it back outside.
Jardine pick and roll with Melo. Baseline Jackson, pivot, jump hook, pure. Syracuse up 14-6, looking strong, largest lead of Tulane. And one, whoa! That ball batted out of bounds. Fab Melo has to be careful. He could have been called for technical foul for that.
He was very fortunate none of the officials had their eye on it as Ray Natili looked up. But look how deep Otule is in the paint. You get a big fella with 2 feet in the paint, he's going to score or get fouled. And look at Melo knock the ball, slap it away. And you saw the official looked at him after it was done. Had he seen him do it, he would have been called for a tech. And Jim Boeheim, fully aware of that, sits his big fella down to give him a little admonishment about keeping his head in the game.
Melo picks up his first foul, and that's a second-team foul against Syracuse. Make that actually 2 fouls on Melo. 14-9.
And again, the token zone pressure going back into man-to-man. Marquette employs it to keep Syracuse slowed down, forcing them to work half court against the Marquette man.
Fair. Has it stripped. Nice job on defense by Vanderblue, freshman from Madison, Wisconsin, to the basket. Darius Johnson, Odom, and a tie-up, jump ball, and it will favor Marquette.
Yeah, Johnson Odom lucky that he was able to recover, at least on the held ball. Ball slips out of his hands, but that's the kind of game Marquette wants to play. They want to scramble defensively, dig when the big fellas bring it down, and push the ball up the floor.
Butler scoreless so far for Marquette. He's their leading scorer, is 16 a game. Darius Johnson Odom averages 15.9, so basically 16 as well. Bikes looking, 18-footer.
Bikes has got to be sharper. He missed cutting Jimmy Butler as well as posting Chris Otule on that last possession. And you want to go for the high percentage shots. You want to move the ball, make the zone move.
Trish, long three-pointer. And Blue with the rebound.
And again, Marquette wants to push the action.
4 of 11 Marquette from the field, and a foul on the pass. Vanderblue penetrating. 11:42 to play first half. 14-9. Syracuse. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the tournament summary.
Well, congratulations to Mike Krzyzewski, 900 wins. One of the greatest coaches of our time. Ohio State with probably the most dominant 2 games of this tournament thus far. They have been, outstanding. And you look at conferences with 2 teams in the Sweet 16. The Big East certainly with 11 to begin with will have at least 2.
And the most important number for Coach Krzyzewski, I would imagine, will be 904. 4 more games. He's cutting down the nets once again.
And isn't it ironic? If he wins 4 more games, that means he will have won a national championship.
Here's Butler. along with Darius Johnson-Odom, Bikes, Otule, and Vanderblue. Bikes really sloppy with the basketball as he crosses the midcourt line. Butler, 7 to shoot. Now Butler, offensive foul. Syracuse really frustrated Marquette on that trip. Coverage of the Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues Monday at 7 Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN3.com with second-round action. For more information on game times and matchups, go to NCAA.com.
And that possession should be a lesson to Marquette. When you stop trying to get the ball in the middle by pass or attacking the gaps, your offense is going to bog down.
Waiters with the and one running jump shot, and he'll go to the line.
And really just got the Marquette defense spread out where there's no help. And he'll accept the lucky bounce.
Deion Waiters completes the three-point play, and Syracuse takes a 17-9 lead. Cadogan picked up his first foul. 3 team fouls against Marquette. Otule. Backdoor Blue puts it on the floor, tied up, and this time Syracuse will get it. So let's take a look at the conference breakdowns.
Well, the Big East obviously dominant with their presence, and they've been whittled down to 4. The Big Ten whittled down to 4. And really, the ones holding their own seem to be the ACC, if you're talking about from a percentage and ratio standpoint.
5 turnovers for the Golden Eagles to start this game. Joseph explodes on the baseline and powers it in.
Strong move by Chris Joseph. You don't really equate his game with a power game, but he's got a little oomph to it. And what Syracuse is doing nicely is spreading the floor and spreading the Marquette defense so there's no help side.
They're also,
or little help side.
They're also sitting on Butler, who has not been able to get a good look at the basket, as Marquette will retain possession.
Well, Jimmy Butler, everybody realizes that he is the focal point of this team, and not just putting the ball in the basket. He creates things, makes plays. And if you can take him out, that puts a severe crimp in the offensive attack for Marquette.
Johnson-Odom. And the rebound to Joseph. Quick outlet pass, Waiters. Trish off the glass, no. And an offensive foul called on Trish.
But still in all, Marquette needs to hit the offensive glass more, get second chance opportunities. And if not, at least contest the Syracuse outlet pass, because, you know, they're getting smacked around in the transition game as Syracuse pushes it up quickly and puts a lot of pressure on the Marquette backline defense.
Gardner working, throws it away. Good hands by the Orange. Deflections and steals. 6 turnovers for Marquette. Inside, Jackson, short. Cadogan with the hard push.
That was just a point-blank miss by Rick Jackson.
And DJO. Ooh, nice rebound. That's how you guys used to rebound in the old days.
They call that a cuff.
He's cuffing it, bring it down. Joseph. Marquette, 4-14 from the field, 29%. Syracuse defense has been stellar. In the corner, deep Butler. Gardner, rebound and a foul.
Well, Syracuse with this 10-point lead, and it was fueled by Brandon Trish's quick start. Getting mid-range shots as well as shooting from beyond the arc. You know, Trish, a quick 8 points, got Syracuse into a double-digit lead, and that's where they stand right now, up by 10.
So Devontae Gardner at the free throw line. 74% free throw shooter. Check out the Powerade Ion 4-point performance ranking system to get a peek into the science behind tournament success. See where your team ranks at ncaa.com/Powerade.
And speaking of power, Devontae Gardner is one of those guys that has that potential. You know, he's raw right now, but you look at that body, he's got pretty good footwork inside. He just needs to develop confidence as well as the confidence of his teammates to get the ball inside, because he could present some problems for Syracuse in this zone.
Fair picked up the foul his first. And now a sub comes in as Gardner hits the sideline. Folk for Marquette.
Yeah, Joseph Fultz is one of those guys that can extend, get up and play people on the perimeter as well, do a decent job along the back line. There you see him with the hedge, the hard hedge.
Waiters up top. Nice rebound.
Yeah, good substitution by Buzz Williams, getting Fultz in there. Does a nice job defensively as well as on the board.
There's a fast break as Cadogan gets to the bucket. His first basket, 19-13. Golden Eagles coming alive now.
Look at Crowder doing a nice job fronting Rick Jackson, and now on the head, but nobody gets to Jackson in time.
And there he is, the ruler. Nice pass from C.J. Fair, the freshman. 21-13.
Jay Crowder needed some help, man. He did a terrific job of fronting and keeping the ball away from Jackson, but when he helped, the rotation got there too late. Ooh. Starting to heat up his number one.
D.J.O. has 5. 21-16.
Points come in bunches from Johnson Odom.
Fair, that one partially blocked, taken away. Fultz inside, Crowder. Oh, he missed a bunny. Butler picks it up. Fultz mid-range. And a foul going against Marquette. A little push in the back by Jay Crowder. 7:03 to play in the first half. They're finding a rhythm in this beautiful dance called college basketball.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update for you. Over on TNT in Tulsa, Texas, down at one point to Arizona by 13, has come all the way back to tie. Coben Brown with the bucket. It is 66-66 now, under 2.5 to play. Back to Cleveland.
Well, youth will be served. Everybody, beginning of this NCAA tournament, thought Texas might be vulnerable to early upset. But I'm going to tell you what, you know, these young fellas understand how to play. Rick Barnes will not let them sit down. Will not let them lay down.
21-16, Syracuse. C.J. Fair, the inbounder, with Waiters, Jardine, Joseph, and Mello. Jardine bringing the ball up the floor and draws bikes. Joseph. Fultz got a hand on it. They play on. Waiters. Inside, knocked away. Crowder, great job, and then a foul. Not a very good pass by Mello.
Well, you notice Marquette defensive intensity has picked up. They start picking up full court, and that kind of energy continues in the front court as they're doing a much better job of defending the passing lanes as well as helping on the drives.
And that's a second foul on C.J. Fair. And Fair checking out of the game. Rick Jackson back in. Inside, Bikes. That one deflective. Out of bounds. Let's join Marty on the sideline.
Well, guys, I was talking to Scoop Jardine. We've mentioned that Marquette win over Syracuse earlier this year, and I asked him what happened in that game. He said, honestly, we completely lost our defensive focus. After that, it was a turning point for our team. Several team meetings, we changed the focus on defense, and after that, they won 8 out of their next 10 games. Clearly, that defensive intensity is still picking up tonight.
17 to shoot inside Butler. 14-footer gets his own rebound. No. Crowder. Look at him going to work inside. Off the glass. No. Fultz kept it alive. Crowder again. Double clutch. No. They are really working. Chris Joseph the other way. Drives. And offensive foul. Crowder. Make that bites. Let's go. Taking the charge.
And even though they came up short on their offensive glass, Marquette's serving notice that they're battling. And again, as I mentioned, against this zone, if you're not the shooter, you got to find a lane, which is very apparent in this 2-3 zone. You find the lane to the basket and get yourself ready for offensive rebounding. And that was just gang rebounding right there by Marquette, even though they didn't put it down. And on the other end, again, the defensive intensity continues as they're doing a nice job of help defense.
Inside, Darius Johnson-Odom with the right hand that time. Len.
I saw it.
What?
Well, I tell you this, Marquette attacking the zone the way you need to, looking for the mid-range shots. The guys in those sweet spots are doing a nice job of turning and reacting.
Waiters picks it up. Knocked away, Butler. Marquette with numbers. DJO leaves it. Gets it back, rises. And hits Darius Johnson-Odom. And here come the Golden Eagles. We're tied at 21. He has 10.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Miller Lite, UPS, and by Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Cleveland. We're all tied at 21 as we take a look at the game summary.
Well, you can take a look at Marquette getting up more shots, more possessions. It's taken that many to tie this game. And the real reason is their intensity and perseverance on the offensive glass. 16 rebounds to 8. They've doubled Syracuse. And Darius Johnson-Odom on this 12-2 run by Marquette. He scored the last 8 points for the Golden Eagles.
He has 10 overall. Now some three-quarter court pressure being applied.
And the more you can make Syracuse pick that ball up, the slower their offense, the less time they have in the front court to get something done. And that's Marquette's strategy.
Sutherland off the bench, and he buries his first shot. He got some garbage time against Indiana State. Looked good, so Jim Boeheim putting him in here in the first half. And he makes it a 24-21 game. And as you take a look at the bar at the top of your screen, Arizona, Texas. How about this, folks? 27 seconds left. 2-point game over on TNT. If you got the clicker in your hand, come on back with us. You got to see the ending of that. I wish we had a clicker, Lynn, that we could just... So I would have it, right? Or you? Would you have it? Or... No, I think you would have it. We could put our producer, Steve Shear, in mute. Melo picks up the foul, his third.
You notice I didn't say a word.
I know.
I'm just a visitor here.
Forever the lawyer.
No, I'm the stepchild here.
Tule. Don't forget, coming up on AT&T at the half, scores and highlights, the latest tournament news, and a Naismith Watch presented by AT&T. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half. Mr. Tule, sophomore from Richmond, Texas, makes the second. 1-point game. Syracuse is led by as many as 10.
Look at Darius Johnson-Odom hounding Scoop Jardine, forcing Scoop to turn his back, which once again delays the Syracuse entry into their offense.
Trish, hot early for Syracuse. 8 points. Inside Jackson, knocked away by Butler. Jardine picks it up on the baseline. Deep. Hits. And he had some words for Crowder. as he buried that one, and he's looking at Crowder as they come up the floor. Crowder with a big smile on his face.
Well, Tule is busting into that paint. Both feet in the paint wide open. His teammates just not giving him a hard enough look.
DJO again, short. And the loose ball picked up by Trish.
And a good job of Darius Johnson on picking up Brandon Trish to stop that fast break.
Jardine off the bounce now. Baseline. Sutherland wide open. Now bikes, crosstown, midtown traffic. Feeds the post. A two-leg jump hook. Jackson with the rebound. Fisher's letting them play. They're getting up and down.
Couldn't get a better look than one Chris O'Toole had, but that's open for him just about all afternoon, all evening, as he duck moves into the paint with a man on his back.
Sutherland that time with the buttery touch as he buries it. He averages 4.8 points per game, plays about 14 minutes, off the bench now with 5. 29-23, Syracuse, 3:09 to play. If you would like to make a donation to help in the ongoing relief effort for the disaster in Japan, log on to cnn.com/impact. Gus Johnson, along with Len Elmore and James Sutherland, has come in this game 5 points now, including a three-pointer. Remember, when he played against Indiana State, Len, he only played 3 minutes, but he hit a three and ended up with 4 total points. So Coach Boeheim getting him in the game early.
Yeah, I mean, prior to the tournament, he had gotten very few minutes per game over the last several games, but he is a pretty good jump shooter. And Jim Boeheim understands his personnel and knows how to deploy him.
6 feet 8 inches tall. Baseline, Bikes, good look, and hits.
I like the way Dwight Bikes took his time. Excellent pass. And he was able to line that thing up before the defense could come get him. That's his 5th point.
29-26, Orangeman. Skip pass stolen, Jimmy Butler, and he's fouled. It's going to be a intentional foul.
Chris Joseph has to know that. You can't grab a guy around the waist and not be called for an intentional foul. This is not the NBA.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update. This is how Texas-Arizona wound down. The Longhorns leading 69-67. Time running down. Arizona, Derek Williams with the bucket. He got fouled. He made the free throw. And in the final seconds, Jacobin Brown of the Longhorns cannot get it to fall. Rebound did not go before time ran out. Arizona advances 70-69. Back to Cleveland. Gus Johnson, Len Elmore, Marty Snyder.
All right, congratulations to Sean Miller, the head coach at Arizona. In 2 years, he's got the Wildcats in the Sweet 16. And I tell you, Derek Williams is one of the best players in the country that we don't hear as much about. He is just wonderful. Now, everything is for sale and nothing is off limits on True TV's #1 hit show, Hardcore Pawn. You won't believe what's in store every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on True TV.
Well, you see the real penalty here on that intentional foul by Chris Joseph. 2 free throws and the ball. And before the break, I said it wasn't the NBA. And what I meant in the NBA, a case like that kind of foul would have just been a breakaway, and the guy would have gotten 2 free throws no matter what. But the possession is so important as Marquette able to capitalize.
Butler with his first basket of the game, and the Golden Eagles take a 30-29 lead. Inside Jardine, outside Sutherland again. And he can't get the roll. Joseph put it on the floor, gathered himself, and banked it in. Chris Joseph, what a terrific player. Developing different aspects of his game, minute by minute. Ooh, DJO from Cadogan. Nice eyes by Junior Cadogan.
That's right, he surveyed that back line.
32-31, and a whistle. And Cadogan looking inside. Syracuse falling asleep in the back of that zone.
That's right. Johnson Odom sliding along that baseline. And that's what you have to do. You have to find gaps, both from a driving standpoint as well as a passing standpoint against this zone. And it's hard to do because of the length of Syracuse. But if they fall asleep at the switch, you make them pay.
Oh, Trish throwing it into the backcourt. DJO tracks it down. Johnson Odom to the bucket.
That was respect for the shot blocking capability of Syracuse, throwing it back outside despite being 3 feet from the basket.
Dugan, Crowder, three. And Chris Joseph will slow it up. His 5th rebound. Under a minute to play. Marquette on top by a point. Trish. Al Jardine driving, double clutch, short, batted out. Trish. And he'll wisely pull it out. No, Jardine, instead of playing for one shot.
Why? Why are you giving Marquette an extra possession? Got a good offensive rebound. Good decision by Trish to push it back outside.
And Boeheim looks at Jardine and says, what are you doing? 5 seconds. Butler elevates, baseline, and hits. And that's it. After being down by as many as 10, Marquette storms back. And the Golden Eagles lead Syracuse 34-31 at the break.
And they were able to get back in it and take the lead, obviously, and build on that lead through 2 brain-lock plays by Syracuse. The intentional foul by Chris Joseph and the refusal to hold the ball for the last shot by Scoop Jardine.
And here's Marty Snyder with Buzz Williams.
Buzz, how did you guys get back into this game?
I thought we started playing hard. I thought we were tentative in the first half, first few minutes of the first half. And I thought we got going. When you get stops, we can score. We're taking the ball out of the basket. We ain't any good. We started playing hard, started getting loose balls, started being the first to the floor. That's what you have to do to win. We're trying to advance. You can't be pretty. It's not a beauty contest.
Your voice sounds much better today, Buzz. That's a good thing, isn't it, Gus?
All right, and it's also a good thing that his star player is really playing at a high level. Darius Johnson Odom with 12 points in the first half. Marquette up by 3. We'll send you to AT&T at the half after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by the Capital One Venture Card, the new Windows Phone, LG, and by Infinity.
34-31, Marquette with the lead at halftime. Moments ago, our Marty Snyder met with head coach Jim Boeheim.
Well, Jim, they got back into it with their aggressiveness. How do you slow them down?
We got a rebound. They out-rebounded us, and we had, made a couple bad turnovers at the end of the first half. And, we just got to do a better job on our board. And I think the turnovers hurt us the most of anything, though. We're shooting it good. We're doing a decent job on defense, but we've got to take better care of the ball, and we got to rebound it.
Thanks, Jim. Gus?
All right, Marty, thank you so much. Lenny, your reaction to the first half. Syracuse at one time up by 10.
Yeah, I mean, Buzz Williams had it right. His team just started to play harder with intensity, and that's what's allowed them to take this lead.
All right, let's take a look at the first half statistics, and Coach Boeheim talking about turnovers.
Well, the turnovers, 13 points off of those 10 Syracuse turnovers and 9 offensive rebounds from Marquette. That's giving them more possessions.
This game is brought to you in HDTV by LG. Life's good.
The other key to this game, at least that first half, we talked about Rick Jackson dominant against Indiana State in the paint. In this game, he's only got 4 points. Marquette doing a nice job of double teaming him, getting the ball out of his hands, and pressuring the perimeter, so it's not easy to throw the entry pass into Jackson.
Marquette with the basketball to start the game. Darius Johnson Odom bites. Williams, Butler on a two-leg. Darius Johnson Odom with the ball now had 12 points in that first half. Butler took him a little while to get it going. He finished the first half with 6. Now he frees himself. And a rebound to Trish. Trish off to a great start in the first half. He had 8 quick points. Jardine, Chris Joseph. Sutherland starts the second half for Syracuse. Interesting. He gets it inside. And it's an offensive foul.
Now, I'm not so sure that's Sutherland's fault alone. Obviously, he needs to catch and jump stop and then elevate instead of leaning to the basket. But that's tough when you throw the ball right there and you know the defender's waiting. You certainly want to move the ball, as Jackson tried to do, but that's a tough catch for Sutherland.
So Marquette. And a whistle. Looks like a 3-second violation called against Otule.
But Darius Johnson-Odom in that first half started off slowly, but when he gets started, beyond the arc as well as mid-range shots, his athleticism, his ability to elevate has served him well against this Syracuse zone.
He was 5 of 9 from the field in the first half. 12 points, 2 of 5 from the three-point line in 18 minutes.
And we saw the nice hedge by Jay Crowder to stop Scoop Jardine, and then good recovery to Sutherland.
Jackson cut off, shovels it out, and stolen away.
And that's how they've been taking the ball out of Rick Jackson's hand.
Nice fast break. Butler to the basket, misses it. Picked up Bikes, and they'll get a new shot clock.
And how many of those ins and outs have we seen with Jimmy Butler?
And a travel call on Bikes.
Well, take a look at Rick Jackson right here. He receives, and look, he's got 3 guys and a 4th coming to try to get the ball out of his hands. And he kind of fumbled that pass away, and obviously Marquette with possession.
Rick Jackson, 2 of 4, only 4 shots in the first half, 4 points and 2 rebounds. Baseline, Joseph across the lane, and a whistle. I love this kid. Chris Joseph on attack mode, and he will go to the line.
Yeah, and every year Chris Joseph has played, he's shown improvement and progress. Last year, 6th man of the year in the Big East, coming off the bench as a supplementary player. This year as a feature player, he hasn't disappointed anyone.
3rd team All Big East. For instant analysis and highlights of every tournament game, log on to SI.com. How about VCU and Purdue? Len.
Hey, man.
75-58.
If you're going to play on emotion, this is the time to do it. And not to say that they don't have talent and skill, because they demonstrated that as well. You can't win on emotion alone. But they are making a statement. Shaka Smart and his VCU Rams.
2 fouls on Crowder for Marquette. Inside Otule, outside Crowder. Frees himself with the bounce.
Good inside-out movement around the perimeter. Look how stretched that 2-3 zone is.
DJO spinning, block, picked up, Joseph.
Mistake made by Darius Johnson-Odom on that one was he could have pulled up and shot a mid-range instead of driving to the shot blockers, trying to do a little bit too much.
Crossover, Jardine. Joseph in and out, baseline. Chris Joseph, great rhythm. He has 10. Syracuse back on top. And a whistle, offensive foul called on Otule as Jackson suckered him into committing the foul.
Well, I'll tell you what's been happening. Otule with that duck move has done it. Jackson pulled him down. Jackson pulled him down. The officials missed it. That was a slide play by the senior, a 2nd foul on Otule, but there's no question about it. Jackson pulled him down, and the officials missed it.
Jardine. Dugan in the game now for Marquette. Sutherland up top. Darius Johnson-Odom, he'll push it. Cut off nicely by Jardine, who got back in transition. Oh, nice look. And one. Oh, no, goaltending is the call. Crowder from Darius Johnson-Odom.
And once again, Otule steps in, duck moves, and gets in front of the paint, but it's Crowder on that baseline that receives.
But that's what you keep talking about. Marquette wanting to get it, get up the floor and force fouls or just put pressure on Syracuse to get back?
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the numbers right here. Marquette with a significant advantage on the free throw line. And certainly as a rebounding team, they've been holding their own and then some. But the last time these two teams played, game was decided on the free throw line. Marquette was plus 16 in free throws made. And they do it because they're aggressive to get back before the zone sets.
Bad shot by Jardine. Off balance. However, Sutherland gets the rebound.
And they will continue, Marquette will, every chance they get, to push the ball and try to avoid playing against a set zone.
Sutherland babied that jump shot.
Look at Cadogan push it, doesn't have numbers and realizes it.
Baseline Crowder, nice look at Tule, and he's fouled. So let's take a look at the bracket as Marquette and Syracuse battle.
Well, obviously that great matchup, Ohio State and Kentucky. The young Kentucky team against a, for the most part, veteran Ohio State team that's pretty much a complete team. And the winner here gets to play North Carolina, a team that started 4-3 in November, and everybody was about to write them off.
They got a signature win, though, at home against Kentucky. And that really kind of reshaped their season. Pick and roll, Cadogan. Vanderblue is checked in the game now. Across the lane. And Joseph, another rebound. That is number 7.
Deion Waiters running down the sideline was wide open. Held both hands up to say he's wide open.
Trish driving hard. And the foul called. Offensive foul on Trish. As he gets up, or tries to get up. Looks like he may have hit his tailbone. 15:36 to play. 1-point game.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update over on TBS in Chicago. First round winner VCU is just pounding Purdue. Their biggest lead has been 19. 5 different players in double figures. 82-66 the lead. Back to Cleveland. Gus, Glenn, and Marty.
All right, Greg, so Purdue struggling at the end of the season, losing their final regular season game at Iowa, and then getting knocked out in the second round after receiving a first-round bye in the Big Ten tournament to Michigan State. They beat St. Peter's in the first round. Trish on the bench.
When they beat USC in that opening round, I'm sure a lot of people still had their doubts. But no more.
VCU looking good. Inside, Crowder, and a foul. So let's take a look at what happened to Trish as he went down hard underneath the basket.
Well, it's a hard drive baseline, and you see Junior Cadogan's established position right there. And as Trish came down, watch him come down flush on his lower back, and you know that hurt. He can't even straighten up right there. It looks, in all probability, a bruise.
Jackson picked up the foul as Crowder. And let's go to Marty. He's got an update on Trish.
Gus, the update on Brandon Trish is that it's a bruised tailbone, and his return right now is questionable, but very tough kid. I would expect him back in the game at some point.
And Lenny, as you were explaining to me at the break, you know, that can go all the way down into your feet.
Yeah, I mean, you hit that sciatica or something, and all of a sudden you feel that stinger up and down.
38-35 Marquette. Orangemen have had a hard time getting it to Rick Jackson.
And look where Rick Jackson is right now at the top of the key. He's kind of a pressure outlet. No longer is he like the first option on the offense.
Jardine in the corner, Waiters downtown. Pure. Wow. High arcing jump shot. And that ties it up at 38. But Marquette beats everybody down the floor.
And that's what they've been doing all evening. Pushing it up the floor, looking to avoid the setup 2-3, trying to catch Syracuse in transition. And Butler that time streaked down the sideline.
Jackson calling for it. Double team. Cross court. Jardine, the floater. Got it. Scoop Jardine tying this game at 40. Otule inside. Crowder dumps it down, and a Tulane will go to the line. Great passing by this Marquette team.
Yeah, they've been able to pop the ball around. Defensively, though, they've got to make some decisions. Take a look at the shooter. The shooter is Sutherland. He's right here. Defender needs to get back and allow his defense to be able to help in the paint. Instead, you lose track of Sutherland, Waiters, I should say, and he makes you pay.
Third foul called on Fair as a Tulane. Misses the first. He's a 58% free throw shooter coming into this tournament. Blue and Cadogan check out. Bikes, Darius Johnson-Odom back in the game. Gardner ready to check in as well for Marquette.
Substitution for Marquette, number 54, Devontae Gardner.
Well, Tulane gets a rest as Devontae Gardner come in, but can't tell you how important his positioning has been with Marquette trying to go inside, and part of that, this creates the foul trouble that we see here, all frontline players. You know, all you need is that post-up, that duck-in move, get the defender on your back. And now everybody on Syracuse's defense is scrambling, trying to cover up.
Jardine, nice look there, and he used the rim as a shield. He has 4.
C.J. Fair has demonstrated against Indiana State he can shoot the jumper, and here he knows what to do in the paint.
Waiters to the bucket. Oh, beautiful butter roll. As he managed to avoid the defender.
Yeah, he slid to the side, but is that what you call it, a butter roll? Someday I can use that.
Well, you can use anything I have, Lenny. What's mine is yours. Johnson-Odom downtown. Batted around. And another foul. Every tournament game is live online on your iPhone or iPad with NCAA March Madness on demand. For details, go to mmod.ncaa.com.
And what we saw just there, Devontae Gardner coming out of the game had an opportunity to rebound, but he couldn't get off his feet. And Buzz Williams recognizes opportunities are coming. Got to get Otule back in the ballgame. He's been pretty effective playing his role.
Jardine to Waiters. Fires off the dribble. Ooh. Freshman Dion Waiters.
And he backs up, backpedals, and shakes his head like nobody can stop me.
And Marquette wants to talk it over. Syracuse finding their rhythm. 46-41. Welcome back, and let's take a look at the game summary. Marquette and Syracuse, Orangemen with the lead.
And Orange has been shooting the ball very well. Again, high percentage shots, despite the fact that they're getting outscored from the line. Turnovers, they've minimized their turnovers and not given Marquette extra opportunities or opportunities in transition. And Darius Johnson-Odom stuck on 12. He finished the half with 12. Hasn't scored in this half yet.
Syracuse on a mini 6-0 run. The Bikes, Crowder, Darius Johnson-Odom, a Tulane back in, as well as Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has been so quiet in this game. Only 6 points. See if they can get him going.
Well, he's missed a lot of easy ones that have rolled off the front of the rim. A lot of high percentage shots. He can't be afraid to continue to shoot.
He's 3 of 10 from the field. Inside. And Crowder using his solid frame. 8 points, 3-point game. Jardine draws Bikes. Inside, Jackson lost it. A Tulane takes it from him. Jackson's rhythm is 100% off. 14 turnovers for Syracuse.
Well, you can attribute some of that off rhythm of Jackson to the scrambling defense of Marquette. And Otule once again on the post-up.
Jackson that time knocking it out of his hands, and Otule will pick up the foul. And that will be his third. Today's shining moments.
Well, you take a look at Kendall Marshall, who's been a dynamo for Carolina since he was inserted in the starting lineup. Double-double for him. Mike Krzyzewski, congratulations. And if he wins 904 in this season, that means he will have won another national championship. And Derek Williams, the most outstanding big man in the Pac-10 and hitting the game winner today, powered his team over Texas.
46-43 Syracuse. Orangeman with the basketball. As C.J. Fair gives it to another freshman, Dion Waiters. Joined by Rick Jackson, Joseph, and Jardine. Why are they starting Jackson so far away from the basket line?
Well, right now they need to get him on the move. They haven't had a lot of success throwing it to him when he's stationary on the block. So get him on the high post and roll and move. Nice break.
Cadogan makes him pay. And he'll go to the line to shoot one with a chance to tie this game up at 46.
And look at Marquette streaking. Every opportunity they get, they want to push it against Syracuse. Nice delivery by Crowder that time, and Cadogan with upper body strength. And back and forth between the two of those guys. They ran that 2-on-1 break perfectly. And the reaction from Jay Crowder, one thing he understands is that this crowd right here, even though there are an awful lot of Orange supporters in the crowd, the bulk of this crowd from the other schools are rooting for Marquette.
Free throw good for Cadogan. We're tied at 46. Syracuse has been so sloppy with the ball. They average 12 turnovers per game. They have 15 tonight. And we still have over 11 minutes to play.
And Marquette taking advantage of it with double-digit points off turnovers.
Waiters. Now Joseph, he's been great. Comes up short of Tule. The strong side board. Cadogan in the front court, leaves it. Darius Johnson-Odom slashing. Inside Crowder, and a foul.
They keep attacking. Marquette didn't necessarily need Jimmy Butler today. Second round game, I should say. You look at him with 15 points. Tonight, 8. The game's not over yet. And Butler is one of those guys, particularly in clutch situations, that you can rely on. So the jury's out so far as his performance. But Buzz Williams has got to like the way his team is playing and competing.
Sutherland picked up his second foul. So Syracuse went on that mini 6-0 run. Buzz Williams calls a timeout. And just like that, they regroup.
They've done an excellent job of bending without breaking.
And Joseph with 9 rebounds now. Let's see if they can get him the ball in.
Well, they got Jay Crowder guarding him who can match his size. And they're on the double team. There's a scramble right there as the rotation tries to cover.
Waiters driving, pumps and banks.
A lot of contact there, surprise.
Love the way these guys have officiated this game. They are really letting them play.
Yeah, block charge. That could be one of them if it had an impact on the shot, but there was no seemingly advantage or disadvantage there.
Johnson-Odom dipping in, gets it again, no. Loose, who wants it? Rick Jackson, Waiters, he'll pull up. Jardine pulls. Rebound, Crowder, outlet, Butler, DJO. They're balling now. 9:39 remaining in the second half. 14 points. First basket of the second half for Darius Johnson-Odom.
Trying to go high-low now to Rick Jackson. O'Toole, nice job of fronting. Marquette just keeps the ball away from Rick Jackson, and when he does receive, force it out of his hands.
Jackson not moving down there. Seems like he's in a stationary position, Lynn.
And that's why he's going to the high post and he's hitting high screens so you can get him on the move.
Woo! Waiters. 50-49, Syracuse. Waiters with 14. O'Toole. And a timeout. 8:50 to play. Marquette wants to talk it over. Syracuse up by a penny. Welcome back as we take a look at the game reset. Marquette with only 14 fouls. Syracuse with 7, so the Golden Eagles on every foul will shoot 1 and 1. Orange with 4 timeouts, and the Golden Eagles with 2. We would like to give a special welcome to all of our troops around the world watching the tournament on the American Forces Network. Thanks, guys.
Yep, greetings and gratitude for those of us who are here, to those of you who put your lives on the line for our security.
50-49, Syracuse. Now Cadogan. Bikes in the backcourt. Cadogan driving. No call. Jackson with a rebound. It's consistent. And Dion Waiters, his season high, 17 against Colgate. He has 14. Scoop Jardine's cousin, Jackson. Oh, extra pass, Jardine. Sutherland. Scoop with the vision.
Well, it all began with Rick Jackson, though, with the outlet, getting out of the double team so the extra pass can be made. That was the key pass right there.
Good point, Lenny. 7 points for Sutherland. Off the bench tonight. He started the second half.
Got to take what the defense gives you.
Inside, Butler. Stripped, picked up. Sutherland. 12 turnovers for Marquette.
Yeah, Syracuse is going to slow it down and run a set. And again, Rick Jackson at the high post. Get him on the high screen and roll. He can roll down, stay on the move. Makes it a little bit easy to get on the ball right there.
Jackson deflected, picked up. Here's Bikes pushing it hard to the bucket. Bikes left hand, no. But there's Butler for the foul.
Well, we told you the jury's out on Butler's performance because he can come up clutch in these last few minutes. But that time, Rick Jackson rushed that pass out of the double team instead of waiting for the defense to commit. And that's why it was deflected and stolen.
Jardine wrapped it around deep in the corner. Sutherland, that's his shot. Ooh. Buzz Williams of Marquette. Jim Boeheim of Syracuse. Classic Big East battle for a trip to the Sweet 16.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update for you. Over on TNT in Tulsa, the top seed in the Southwest. Kansas on top of Illinois. Thomas Robinson with the spin and the bucket. Right now, Kansas has a 23-13 lead. About 8 minutes to play in the first half. Back to Ducks and company in Cleveland.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. So the winner of the Kansas-Illinois game taking on Richmond in San Antonio. Our score right now, 52-51. Got a close one, 6:55 to go. And in this game, we've had 4 ties and 10 lead changes. Syracuse is led by as many as 10. Marquette by as many as 3.
See, the way that Marquette's been able to space those guys has made it easy to set screens. But the problem Syracuse has had all evening has been their turnovers. They've turned it over 16 times. That's led to 20. Yes, 20 Marquette points. And that's significant because Syracuse is shooting pretty well, 55% from the field, and Marquette is only shooting about 38%. So you cut down on those turnovers and Marquette's shooting under 40%, you should have your way.
Jackson called for the foul, his second, but O'Toole misses the front end of the 1-and-1. 18 fouls against Syracuse, 14 fouls against Marquette. And True TV presents an all-new series, Big Brian, the fortune seller, every Tuesday at 10 Eastern. You won't believe what happens when he turns a house full of memories into the sale of the century. Cadogan called for the foul, his second. And that's a 15th foul against Marquette. Bikes checks out of the game. Sutherland, Joseph Waiters, Jardine, Jackson. Chris Joseph, they're running screens for him on the baseline. Waiters passes him up. Now Jackson posts, faces. Backs his man down to Tule. Jump hook, no, but a foul.
Yeah, Tule's got to hold his ground. Jackson positioning himself 2 feet in the paint, point-blank range. And it's hard to stop a guy with Rick Jackson's offensive skills. O'Tule with 4 fouls. Bugs Williams very hesitant to put Devontae Gardner in the game. And actually, he's going to go small. He's called Dwight Bikes to get to the scorer's table.
Jackson only 2 of 4 from the field as he gets it first. Bikes comes in. So defensively, who deals with Jackson if you're Marquette?
Well, I suspect that the only guys capable
Crowder
would be Jay Crowder and possibly Jimmy Butler. Marquette is a pretty much straight man-to-man team. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they wound up going zone at some point. But make no mistake about it, if the ball goes into Jackson, they're still going to send the double.
Syracuse back in the zone. Cadogan almost threw that one out of bounds. Darius Johnson Odom, 17 to shoot. Inside Butler.
Bikes has got to pull the trigger on that jump shot. Instead, he dribbles himself into trouble.
Let's take a look at some other 3 seeds in the tournament.
Well, we're going to take a look at UConn, surprising UConn. I thought that they'd be worn out after winning the Big East Championship in 5 straight days. BYU just a dominant performance against Gonzaga, and Purdue surprisingly ousted by that hungry, determined VCU Rams team.
Here's Jackson. Air ball. Good defense by Crowder. He got a little bump.
Well, Crowder's a big, strong guy, man. He can push Rick Jackson off that block.
And Crowder fouled.
He can get Jackson just a step off the block out of his comfort zone.
He can run. What a good athlete. And that is the 4th foul on Joseph for Syracuse. Jay Crowder at the free throw line. The Sweet 16 is on TBS and CBS with Thursday night doubleheaders beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern. Coverage begins with Infinity NCAA tip-off on True TV at 6 p.m. Jimmer Fredette in New Orleans. Taking on Florida. Wisconsin and Butler. How about that Jimmer? Sure would be nice to see him. Inside Jackson.
You just want more drama. As do we all.
Love it. Can't get enough. Jackson spinning. Hands it off. Oh! Chris Joseph going up high and ripping it down. He has 12. 55-53 Syracuse.
Much better patience exercised by Rick Jackson that time. Instead of rushing the pass out, waited for the defense to commit and found the cutter.
And the tension starting to get thick here in Cleveland. Syracuse fans standing up. Bikes. And a foul. And that will send Marquette to the line.
Look at Rick Jackson. He turns and locates instead of rushing it out. The double never came. He gets it. Cadogan too late. And Chris Joseph knifes to the basket nicely.
Waiters call for the foul is second. Bikes at the line. Coming into this tournament, a 69% free throw shooter.
On that play, I suspect that Marquette was trying to fool Rick Jackson, didn't send the double team, but everybody committed to turning and facing him.
I like Jackson's patience, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's learning. You know, and you got to learn game by game, frame by frame sometimes. But after the last turnover, the senior thought better of rushing the pass.
Jardine being chased up the floor by Butler. Jackson wants it. Here comes a double.
The fake of the double. Johnson over.
Waiters deep. Oh. Now Cadogan the other way, slicing and dicing.
And how about the use of the body, not only to get through that maze of defenders, but also to shield himself from Rick Jackson.
3:46 to play, 56-55. And welcome back as we reset it for you.
Well, key, obviously possession now in Syracuse's favor. 3 times out for Syracuse, 2 for Marquette. But significant, Syracuse, 10 team fouls. Marquette is going to shoot the double bonus, which makes them even more aggressive. Now, of course, the next foul will put Marquette on the line. Possession arrow is going again. We said for Syracuse.
And you always say that players should always look at that arrow coming
Absolutely,
out of timeout.
coming out. With timeouts being at a premium, if Syracuse gets tied up, they don't need to call a timeout. They just wait for the official to blow the whistle.
Jackson in the post. Picks it up. Finds Waiters. Drives this time. Left hand. Young fella. And Waiters has 16. Syracuse 57. Marquette 56. Approaching the 3-minute mark. A Sweet 16 berth on the line. And that's an offensive foul. Cadogan out of control. 57-56. That's his third. Back after this. Let's take a look at the Capital One Cup impact performance.
Well, it's Dion Waiters again. Began the half with just 3 points. 13 big points here in the second half. And he's been the guy who has taken up the scoring load. Rick Jackson bottled up for the most part. Scoop Jardine being covered. Chris Joseph every once in a while has gotten an opportunity, but the consistent one has been Dion Waiters.
1 point away from tying his career high of 17 points that he scored against Colgate. Scoop Jardine. Joseph. Jackson. Spinning. Left hand. Ankle. Nice. The ruler with 7. .238 to play. Every possession a big one for both these teams. Cadogan kicks. Johnson Odo freeing himself. Crowder a 3. Oh! He banged it down to tie it at 59.
And how about the inside out by Marquette? Crisp ball movement. Inside off the bounce, kicking it back outside, and Jay Crowder just stepped into that shot.
Jardine the other way. 2 minutes. Jackson draws a double. Waiters cross court. He's been hot. 7 to shoot. Sutherland to Jackson, stolen away by Butler. Great play. Here comes Marquette with a chance to take the lead. 17 turnovers for Syracuse.
We told you Jimmy Butler doesn't necessarily have to score to be productive, and we talked about clutch play down the stretch. Butler is doing it.
And a timeout called by Buzz Williams. 14 on the shot clock, $1:26 on the game clock, and we're tied at 59 in Cleveland.
And when it counts, Marquette with flawless execution on both ends. Dribble penetration, the kick out, jump shooter ready, and buries it. And on the defensive end, look at the quick feet of Jimmy Butler, as well as the nimble feet avoiding going out of bounds on the baseline.
And in this tournament so far, Buzz Williams has been great out of timeouts. Knows how to get his team an easy shot, 12 to shoot. Here's Cadogan, turns the corner, lobs it up. No. Waiters with the rebound. 59-59. Syracuse Marquette tie. Jardine. Jackson wants it.
Remember I told you, him setting the high screen allows him to roll down to the point, to the post, and not allow the defense to guard a stationary guy, but a guy on the move.
And a timeout called by Jim Boeheim. 51.6 to go, folks. 59. We got a white knuckler in Cleveland. Later tonight on TBS, it's Inside March Madness, presented by Buick with Matt Weiner, Seth Davis, Steve Smith, and St. Joe's coach Phil Martelli from our Atlanta studios. They'll recap all the day's exciting action. 51.6 remaining in the second half. Game tied at 59. 11 on the shot clock for the Qs.
Marquette with one timeout. Obviously, possession arrow pointing for Syracuse. And once again, both teams in the bonus, Syracuse in the double bonus. Marquette gets fouled. They get 2 shots.
Watch Waiters. The freshman, he turned it over. Jardine and his cousin. Waiters not on the same page.
Well, here's the problem. You get the ball, you step on the line. Let the ball go into the backcourt. Don't walk the tightrope. Let it go into the backcourt and go get it.
So Crowder now inbounds with Cadogan. 18 Syracuse turnover. DJO. Butler. Bikes.
Even if they make, they're still going to have to play defense. But obviously, you want to be in the lead playing defense.
Bikes. 15 to shoot. Butler, the kick. DJO. 62-59. Shot clock turned off. Jardine for 3. Cadogan with the rebound, and Marquette has it. With 16.2 to go.
Marquette milking that clock down just about to 10 seconds before raising and firing. And again, it comes down to ball movement. Guys passed up pretty decent shots, resisted the temptation of force as Jimmy Butler did, and he delivered it on the money.
Cadogan making the first. Marquette 16.1 away.
Substitution for Marquette, number 42.
Huge free throw, making it a 2-possession ball game. Surprise, Syracuse does have a timeout left on that last possession. They look kind of discombobulated, as they did prior to that when Jim Boeheim called the timeout.
Both free throws good. 16.1 to go. 64-59.
No foul.
Waiters strong to the basket. Lays it up. And Jim Boeheim calls a timeout.
Smart play. Defense isn't going to foul you. Good idea by Jim Boeheim and Syracuse to attack the basket, recognizing Marquette would not foul them and allow them a chance to put points on the board with no time elapsing. But it's still now a 1-possession ball game. I expect Syracuse to try for the steal, and if not, they're going to foul to extend the game. The problem is they're in the double bonus, and Marquette, instead of shooting 1-and-1, they're going to be shooting 2 shots. A better chance for them to extend their lead and a more steep or steeper hill for Syracuse to climb.
And a foul before the ball thrown in bounds by Jardine. No, make that Waiters call for the foul.
Well, for Marquette, all they have to do is knock down free throws. And in this case, even 1 is enough. Remember, we're not in 1-and-1. It's a double bonus now. So he can make one and miss one and still make it a 2-possession ball game.
Crowder getting the first.
And if Marquette wins this game, which right now it looks likely, you can credit them with intensity defensively, scrambling defense that double team Rick Jackson, and for the most part took the ball out of his hands. And despite Syracuse hitting a high percentage of their shots, Marquette gained a lot of possessions by turning Syracuse over.
Both free throws good. 10.1 to go. Jardine looks at the clock.
No foul.
And he's fouled.
Are you kidding me?
With 5.2 to go.
What are these young men thinking? And Buzz Williams wants to know for sure. Jim Boeheim has asked that question a couple times with bad judgment by his team, and now Buzz Williams is trying to figure out why would you foul them, give them a chance to put points on the board with no time elapsing. But Syracuse give them credit for the right idea. Instead of scrambling trying to take threes, you go to the bucket hard quickly because the other guy shouldn't foul you. You should have got an easy layup. But if they want to foul, fine. But still, Syracuse shooting 1-and-1.
That might be a two-shot foul, Lenny.
Are they called in the act of shooting? Oh, my goodness, that's even worse.
Yes, he is shooting two. Julie Boeheim. How many of these has she been through? He misses a second. Jackson had it, can't hold on, and that will do it. Marquette upsets third-seeded Syracuse on a Darius Johnson Odom cold jumper, 66-62. Wow. Let's take another look. With the game tied, Butler finds DJO, and he drills it. One more look. Butler didn't have the great offensive night, but he knew who to get the ball to. Darius Johnson, Odom, finishing with 17 points. 66-62 the final, Marquette. And the Golden Eagles advance. What a shot. Corey Williams giving her husband Buzz Williams a big hug and a kiss. They're still playing. Now let's go to the court where Len Elmore is standing by.
I've got Darius Johnson Odom with me, and you guys scrambled, you battled. They shot a higher percentage, but you guys were the ones who came up big.
Man, Coach tells us every day, you got to be the toughest team. And we kept scrapping, kept fighting, and we did what we had to do to win the game.
Well, you guys were down 10 at one point in time, and at halftime, your coach said the reason you're able to come back because you started playing hard.
Yeah, we know Syracuse is a good team. They're going to make runs. It's up to us how we're going to stop their run, and make a run for us. So I just love my guys for doing what they did today. Play hard on defensive end, got to stop when we need it, and we pulled this one out.
All right, you talk about a team effort. How much can you say about the ball handling of Dwight Bikes as well as Junior Cadogan?
Those two guys have stepped their game up tremendously. They've grown as people and as basketball players. And those guys, I think they carried us, through that 2-3 zone, finding open man and getting those shots.
16 is sweet. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, the bracket. We will advance Marquette as the Golden Eagles win it 66-62. They'll take on the Tar Heels of North Carolina, a 2 versus an 11. For Len Elmore and Marty Snyder, we've had a great day of basketball here in Cleveland, Ohio. So for Lenny and Marty, I'm Gus Johnson saying so long from Cleveland, 66-62. Marquette wins it. Tune in to TNT and TBS Now for live third-round games. We'll send you to our studio after these messages.